Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Success Starts Within. Today, we have a wonderful guest who I'm so excited to talk about because she does identity and I don't do identity, but we do it in two completely different ways. So, Ali Berry is a brand photographer and identity mentor for high achieving women who are already successful, but know that they're meant for so much more. She photographs the next level version of you so that you can become her. And I can't wait to have this chat. So, welcome, Ali.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm really, really excited.
Thank you. I know. I've been really looking forward to this. So we met at an event last year where you
We
were
did.
a photographer and I was doing one of my first biggest speaking gigs, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, and when we got talking, it was like we connected and I was like, right, we need to keep in touch with each other. And yeah, I was like, I need to get you on the podcast. So thank you for coming on. So tell me more about your work. So I actually really love what you do, and it's something that I've never heard of before. So as I don't know if you know, but I'm like main character energy, and I know that's very in alignment with what you do as well. But tell me more about what you do because it's just amazing.
Oh, thank you. So I work very differently to, I think, pretty much every other brand photographer that I know, in the sense that I work with their identity rather than their their marketing strategy. Now, don't get me wrong, marketing is a big part of a brand photo shoot. It would be silly to discard it altogether. And when I first started my business, it was all about marketing and buyer psychology. So I still keep those elements in there, but they have become almost secondary to my main reason for a brand photo shoot. And that is to photograph the next level version of my clients. So I have always said, or I have been saying, that I don't photograph people I don't photograph the version of them who they are now, because that version of them is the result of the previous thoughts, previous actions, previous beliefs. And what I like to do is to push them, to encourage them to find out who the next level version of them is, the version of them who is already running their dream business, who is living their dream life, and then find out how does this version of them move, how does she dress, how does she show up, what's her energy like, what's her frequency like, and then that's the version of them that I photograph. And I am 100% convinced that that is exactly why my clients have such huge results immediately after a brand photo shoot with me, because they have experienced this version of themselves, and therefore they automatically become her because they have no choice. They've seen her, they felt what it's like to be her, and they have the photographic evidence that she exists, which I think that's very, very powerful for our subconscious brain to take on board and to accept. And then also, it works on the external side in the sense that their audience sees this transformation in real time, like they also feel the up level, and therefore they are more likely to book, to want to work with them.
And I love that because I've had two photo shoots, and very quickly after my first one, I looked at my photos and it wasn't me.
Mm.
I had leveled up very quickly. And so those pictures fell out of date, and it took
Yeah,
me a while because you obviously invest in a photo shoot and it's quite a lot of time and
absolutely.
money and and
Yeah.
thought as well what outfits you want to wear. So I left it for a while, but for a long time I was using these photos. I was like, they just don't align with the person that I am now. So I love that you actually get people to embody their next level before they
Yeah.
are that next level. And as you said, to experience that and behind the scenes of like a photo shoot, not behind the scenes, sorry, in front of the camera of
Yeah.
like a photo shoot as well, is that kind of quite bougie next level as well, isn't it? So once people get that taste, as you say, it's with embodiment and identity work, it's about that feeling. And once they've got that feeling,
Absolutely.
it's like, actually, this feels amazing. This feels really good, and I want to continue that. So I love that you give them that opportunity to step into their main
Yeah.
character shoes, and then a lot of the time they get these incredible results because they're like, well, I don't want to go back to this old version of me because it doesn't suit anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, what got you into this? Why, as you said, and I completely agree, you are very different to any other brand photographer that I know. What made you go into this identity piece alongside it?
So I think there were, as usual with business, you kind of grow and evolve, and you. So part of what I was doing was exactly what you've just mentioned, in the sense that I really wanted to give my clients longevity for their photos. I was working more and more with ambitious women, and I knew that they were growing at exponential speed right now, and I wanted them to have this longevity. I didn't want them to, exactly what you said, go home and within a few weeks go, oh, these photos are not me anymore. Like I've already, like, I have launched something else since, and I have grown already since. So part of that was the longevity side. And but for ages I wasn't sure how to say it. Like I was, um you know how I think in the world of business we try to fit in too much, and we try to be like, I was like, well, how would I, what would people think if, as a brand photographer, I start talking about identity? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. People are going to look at me and go, no thanks, I'm going to go with somebody else.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, probably going on for a good 6 months to a year, where I knew I was doing it, but I wasn't talking about it enough. And then I experienced a taste of my own medicine when I had a brand photo shoot done, and I went all out. Like, I am also a big believer that sometimes you don't have to have your vision fully formed to have a brand photo shoot. And actually, it's quite fun to, obviously push yourself out there, go, become this next level version of you, but also be open to see what comes up. Because I think often we have this inner knowing, this inner wisdom that we just need to allow to shine. And this is what I create in my spaces. I create this kind of openness to just be and see what happens. And I will come back to that in a minute. But what happened is I went to this brand photo shoot for myself, completely open. I bought the most ridiculous outfits. One of them being this gold sequin jumpsuit. I couldn't even wear a bra with it. It was just this most, like something that you probably never wear. I'm like, how am I ever going to wear this? But I was like, fine, whatever, we'll roll with it. And I had these photos, and I had a wind machine going. My hair was blowing, and I had this photo of me where I had my eyes closed and I had my hand on my chest, and I saw the photo when it came through afterwards, and I was like, I can't use this photo. Like, this is not the photo of a brand photographer. Like, this is photo of somebody who works with energy, who kind of feels stuff more than just, holds a camera in her hand and takes photos. So for about 2 or 3 months, I completely refused to use this photo altogether. I was like, it's not happening. But I kept being called back to it, and I was like, but this is me. This is who I am. And yes, I do pick up on people's energy, and yes, I capture people's energy on photo, on, with my camera, and I capture their frequency, because this is what I think it's all about. It's about being in that frequency of the next level version of you. So slowly I started accepting this photo, and I started using it more and more. And by using it, I was able to embrace this side of me and talk about it more openly on social media and in talks. And obviously, when I met you as well, I was far more comfortable talking about this side of what I do. And it has literally transformed my business.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
it just goes to show, like, and this is one of the reasons why I love having my own brand photo shoots, because I also get to experience what my clients experience.
Yeah. And it sounds like, and I find this all the time with women, we feel like we can't just fully be ourselves because we worry
Yeah,
about fear of like judgment, what other people are going to say, whether we're going to fit in,
yeah,
whether the right clients are going to come to us. And people are just not fully embracing like the real them. And it's tiring having to wear a mask. And I've experienced this myself. You wear this mask, well, I should be like this, so I'm going to show up
yeah,
in this way. And actually, when you are open and honest and you're you, you connect with the right people, and those clients
absolutely.
come in because they're like, she's speaking my language. And of course, a lot of people say, well, I'm pigeonholing myself to like a small group of people, but the way that I see it is, with success and how much what success would make our life look like, we only need a small amount of people to make that happen. A lot of people, you think about the population in the world, like
Yeah.
millions and millions, but actually we don't need that many people in our business to make it successful. We
No.
just need a small amount of people, and we want to call in the people that are like us, that understand, where we understand each other. We get our past experiences and how they've shaped us and why we're showing up now. And it's like, you know what, let's just start showing up as us. But it is such a journey to actually get
It
there.
is.
What kind of beliefs do you find that your clients have that really hold them back from showing up as themselves?
I think the clients that I work with right now are actually quite self-aware, and the ones that I am attracting are obviously already into identity. They understand the concept. They are ready to kind of embrace the next level version of themselves. But it does still come to exactly what you were just saying just now, some like social conditioning, things that we have heard as a child from parents, from grandparents, from teachers, and they are very small things in the in the grand scheme, but they have affected us in way like in quite powerful ways, very subconsciously, very subtly. So I don't think anyone comes with like huge, I don't like the word blocks, but huge um kind of things stopping them from doing things, but they are subtle. They are very, very subtle in how they show up. In fact, I photographed a client last week, and she had said that as a child, she was quite extravagant. She was, she experimented with outfits and hair and clothing and makeup, and she was bullied for it at the time because people didn't understand her. And it's taken her this long to get to a point where she could express herself in that way again. And we did the most incredible brand photo shoot, and she was lying on the floor like on top of a giant pack of cards, and she just looked incredible. But it was one of my brand photo shoot retreats, so there were 7, 8 of us there, and everybody said, "Oh my God, you're so inspirational." And she's allowed herself to step into this version of her that she's always been, but society told her that it wasn't safe to be that version of herself
Yeah.
for such a long time. And now she's at the point where, no, I'm going to be this person. And now she's inspiring others to do the same.
Yeah, that's
So
lovely.
yeah.
And you're right. It's this conditioning from childhood experiences at school or as we're growing up, and we do internalize those beliefs, and they do hide away parts of us that really we want to be allowed to just be allowed to be expressed and just be allowed to be seen. But even though as an adult, logically, well, if somebody doesn't like the way that I
Yeah,
dress, whatever, that's their decision. But actually, because if you haven't dealt with that subconscious belief and release that belief, then you are always going to hold yourself back.
absolutely.
So, just picking up on what you said you don't like to call them blocks. Could you explain to me why you don't like to call them blocks? Because that's what we hear all the time, mindset blocks. So, what's your reasoning behind not calling them blocks?
I think it's, or I understand the concept, and I'm not saying that it is very, very true. I think there are things that are stopping us from doing certain things in our life, but I think block is such a strong word that it almost makes you believe that it's unsurmountable, like you can't get over it. It's a block. I can't, like, it's a roadblock. You can't go past the roadblock, can you? You're not gonna,
Yeah,
you can't drive through the bollards. And it's that concept that I'm like, well, is it a block, or is it just a bit of social conditioning that you can work on and that you can overcome? So I'm not against the concept, I'm just against the word that I think is used. And I think there's a lot in the coaching industry that I think there's a lot of money being made out of blocks, when actually, yes, there have been times in our lives when we have heard things have been said to us, things have been, things have happened, and they have caused us to to behave in a certain way, to act in a certain way, to believe certain things. But I just don't like the word block because it makes it feel very final.
And I actually am on board with that. As you're saying that, I can completely understand your justification for that, because you're right. A block, when I think of a block, I think of something like a really tall, thick brick wall, and it
Mm,
just seems such a hard thing to try and climb or to knock down. But actually, to reframe it and say, well, it's more like a societal conditioning, or it's something I was told as a child, and it feels a lot more like my nervous system. As you were
yeah,
explaining that to me, my nervous system was like, oh, actually, it's something that I can overcome
yeah,
quite easily compared to this is a block. But you're
yeah.
right, the coaching industry do use blocks. So you've definitely made me think about how I explain things, because I actually quite like that concept. I think that's a really nice way of putting it, and less scary. Like you say, like a block is like, ah.
I know. Yeah, and same as you. I've got this kind of vision, like grey concrete style. Like, oh my God, like you're gonna have to like scramble and really struggle to get over this. When actually, sometimes just a small reframe, just hearing something say some, sorry, hear someone say something can just clear something, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be hard. Some things are harder than others, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's so true. So what identity struggle? I know obviously you work with high achieving women. So these are women that have already gone through their own identity work themselves. And you said about that they are aware of their blocks, but what identity, maybe not struggles, but what identity, not blocks, because we're not using that word anymore. What identity, yeah, I'll say struggles, do you find that they
Yeah.
go through, even though they know that they are ready for the next level and they have already up leveled so many times before to get where they are, but what do you find that they're still struggling with?
I think at this level, as a lot of the women that I work with have grown a business and they've grown it quite easily up to a point.
Right.
And obviously there were, like the social conditioning that they've had and the nervous system kind of has allowed them to get here reg- relatively easily. I mean, obviously, running a business is never easy, but they found it easy up to a point. And now they are at their next level, and it feels a little bit harder because there'll be, like we said, levels like struggles with social conditioning, with doubt, with other people's perception. And I think sometimes that, well, actually a lot of the time that does come into play in the sense that they have grown a business to a point where not many people can grow a business to, and therefore they are judged now for being successful.
Yeah.
They are judged for wanting more. I think that's what a lot of them struggle with, to the point where they have got so much, and it's, they've grown a business to the point where so many people are like, I can't even, that's not even possible for me, and yet they want more.
Mm,
So it's not giving them permission, because that's not my job, but creating a space where they give themselves permission that it's okay to want more, that it's okay to want to express yourself in a different way, that it's okay that you want to, to inspire people to want more for themselves. Um, so that's, I think, the running thread through what a lot of my clients are going through right now, is this kind of internal battle of, should I want more? Because we've been conditioned to be humble, we've been conditioned to be grateful for what we have, rather than go, do you know what? I have created an incredible life, but there is more out there for me, and I know I'm capable of more.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we were talking about like new level, new devil.
Yeah.
So, you know, however much you up level, we're all experiencing the same thought,
Yeah.
whether you've started your business or whether you're like multi-millionaire, whatever, we all still have the same thoughts. It's
We do.
just at a different level. Um, And it's interesting as well what you were saying there around women getting to the point where they want more. If it was men, let's be honest, they
Yeah,
wouldn't have these thoughts of, I feel a bit guilty having more. So this is where we are behind, like with the societal conditioning and what we believe is possible for us, is that we have to kind of stop at this point. And
yeah,
this is what women do. They reach this point where yes, they want more. And I want women to want more because we do better things with money and power
we do.
than the men
Absolutely,
do. So we need more
absolutely.
led businesses. But it is that guilt around, oh, I should probably just stop where I am. But
Yeah,
actually, when women generate more money, they don't just generate more money for themselves. They generate it for the world. They set up charities, they give money away, they invest it, they use that time that they have to teach other women or girls, or that I just they do better things when they have money than the men do. And I always say, like,
100%.
don't ever feel guilty for wanting more. I know this because I used to feel guilty about it, but I don't, because the more money that I earn, the more money I can invest in myself, which means that I can then invest in other people. I can invest in my two daughters, and it's all positive. Like, I'm never going to do anything bad with money. And I think women need to remember that is it is okay to earn more, because if you are going to use your money in a way that is going to benefit you and other people, why should you feel bad about it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're right, not one person would bat an eyelid if a man was having a great business and wanted more. They'd be like, oh well, yeah, he's driven. But if you're a woman, suddenly you're like, oh, why does
Yeah.
she want more? Why isn't she happy with what she has? Um, so yeah, I think that's absolutely, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, I could literally talk to you all day. I love chatting to you. I just think this is the next level. People talk all about the mindset work, and as you say, you hear all of this on social media, like mindset, money mindset, mindset blocks, etc.,
Yeah,
etc. But actually, the real sustained change comes when you work on your identity. Of course, you have to work on
absolutely.
your subconscious beliefs, and what you believe to be true about yourself and other people and the world around you. You have to work on your nervous system, because a lot of the time people just do the mindset work and then they hit this ceiling where it's like, why can't I grow anymore? Why can't I expand? It's like your nervous system doesn't feel safe at this level that you've got to. So work on that, and then you can start stepping into the identity of like your next level, your main
Yeah,
character. But you can do that now. Like I say to people, do small little actions that make you feel safe as the person that you are now. That is the shoes of your main character. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she was saying that she does she tells people about having confidence props. So whether that's put red lipstick on, put some high
oh, I
heels
love
on, or a
that.
certain top, and it's like that could be your main character, your next level. She wears this lipstick, or she wears this, and do that for 5-10 minutes a day, and just you will
Yeah,
feel differently. But when you start doing these little things, you will become that next level version of you. And of course, you are still going to have the mindset things that come up, but you work through them.
absolutely.
Yeah. So tell everybody, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram as Ali Berry Photography, or on LinkedIn as Ali Berry. I don't know if there is anyone else with that with that name on it. So yes, Ali Berry, either LinkedIn or Instagram. They're the main places where I hang out at the moment. So yeah,
Amazing. And I'll put your details in the show notes. But thank you so much for joining me today. I've really loved chatting to you.
thank you. Same here.
All right. And thank you for joining us today. And I'll see you next week. Bye.